Well, talk about in the nick of time here. So anyway, so we'll see if this live stream goes very well. I haven't even brought it up on the computer over here, but as you see, some things have changed. Let me bring it up here so I can actually see what's going on and make sure that the stream is going good. Anyway, you've just joined the Jacob Jewett IT Training and Consulting channel. My name is Jacob Jewett, and I want to thank you for joining me tonight. It looks like we're live and everything's good. Anyway, so I've made a couple of changes, and you're seeing a different view of my studio this time. So what I found that I'm having a problem with is right here. You see my workstation. I showed this in a studio tour about 2 weeks ago, and it's worked very well. But if you look at it, the camera's right in front of the screen, and a lot of the stuff that I've been doing has been seriously like stuck at a desk. So you see me sitting in a chair, and I'm like rocking back and forth and stuff like that. I mean, I notice these things about myself. You know, I go back and I watch the videos myself, and also in recording the training thing that I'm doing, the CompTIA Fundamentals Plus. That's another thing I do too much of, is I scratch my nose a little bit too much. One of the other things I find myself doing in these, I think I'm a little hot on this microphone, give me a sec. But another thing I notice myself doing a lot is just like talking to the computer basically, and looking. There's not much hand movement. It's very boring. It's a talking head video, things like that. So I've noticed this. I've noticed this when I'm doing the training videos, when I'm doing the CompTIA fundamentals videos and stuff like that. It's very boring. You know, I'm doing my best to get a little bit more moving around. So what I've done, and hopefully, I mean, I literally hooked this up. I got some of the stuff cleaned up and to where I can show some of it just minutes before, well, in the case of one camera, literally seconds before the video started. I've created a different kind of setup. So before, if you saw my studio tour before, I had a soundboard here. I was using my computer up here, and in the previous streams I've talked about how the problem with this this setup here is for some reason the Elgato card that I got, that's a 4-input card, was pausing and having issues. If you've noticed, my last stream and this stream don't really have that problem anymore. The video is clear, it's fluid, there's not pausing, and the reason why that is I literally took parts that I had sitting around, which is kind of a first world problem, right? So I had these parts that I had sitting around that I was going to probably eventually sell on eBay, and instead of selling them on eBay, I put them into a case that I've recently freed up because I upgraded my wife's computer, and I put a wall-mounted computer like mine from the parts of that computer in my son's room, and then I took this case and I put in spare parts that I've had sitting around, and with a pure intention of, let's get this video down, let's get it to where it's flowing. I don't have problems with audio, I don't have problems with the video encoding and stuff like that. So hopefully I've solved that issue. And the other issue I had was that I was very tied down to this system. So the system that's wall mounted here, if I turn the camera a little bit for you, the system that's wall mounted here is an awesome system. I'm still using it for a lot of tools and stuff like that. It's an awesome system, but the problem is all the cables were coming off of here, and you know, the camera was down here. That was great and everything, but the problem was I didn't have a lot of mobility. So I was stuck to basically a 15-foot area in my studio. I had my back wall. I had the camera views that I showed you before when I switched and stuff. I had those camera views before, and they were great, but the problem was I was really limited to a 15-foot area in this general area. So what I've done is I've unchained myself from this computer that's on the wall, and I've put the new computer on a bread cart, and I'll show you that bread cart here in a second. But what I've essentially done, it looks like a little bit of a mess behind it, and that's because I got cameras hooked up. But really what I've done is I've set up this system so that I only have to hook up 2 cables. So let me turn this a little bit back. I'm my own cameraman, sorry, but what I've done is I've set up this unit so that it's fully self-contained. This cart has 2 cables that come off of it. It has a network cable, and it has a power cable that comes off of it. And so as long as I got a connection to a network connection and a power connection, I can use this cart anywhere I want. So essentially, by doing that, I've opened up my whole studio or my whole basement for recording. If I want to record on the other side of the wall, do like wood projects for Boy Scouts or what have you, I can do that. If I want to turn around and go, I have a workbench where I do a lot of my computer work. I can set up cameras around that bench, and I can demonstrate things like on videos, on training videos and stuff like that. I can do all that demonstration on that bench with all the same equipment that I have without having to stretch it all over there or anything like that. I just literally take this cart and I move it around, and I set it up the way I need it to set it up for whatever thing that I'm trying to record. That adds a lot of adjustability. For example, this back fill wall that I had for my front videos and stuff like that. It works great, but the problem is I'm locked into a certain point. And if you look down below, I don't know if I might get the right camera angle for this. You see the kind of mess I got going on here. But if I get around that, if I get around the monitor there, and you see a bit of the cart, you see that wall is on wheels. And I built this wall myself. It's very stable. It's not going anywhere. Those wheels are lockable. And I did that because there's actually 2 sides of that. There's 2 sides of that wall. There's a side that I envisioned as being like a Boy Scout. I'm at an angle here. Sorry, give me a sec. I envisioned that to be a wall that I could use like for training on one side, and then the other side is the Boy Scout side, and where I have Boy Scout stuff on it. And when I'm doing Boy Scout videos, or scouting videos, I keep saying Boy Scouts because BSA, Boy Scouts of America. We now have females in Scouts, which is awesome. I told you my feelings on that in a previous video. But when I'm doing scouting type things, I want to be able to turn that wall around and do that. So, but the other problem is if you see, I have all my lights mounted to the top of my basement, which works great in some instances, but what if I want to move those around too? So essentially what this allows me to do is with this cart, it allows me to be really unchained. I can go to the back of my basement, clean up some of that, and use that as a part of a studio, do different views and stuff, maybe even like set up a tent or demonstrate stoves or what have you for Boy Scouts or for IT stuff. I actually have in the back corner, you can't see it right now, but in one of the businesses I worked at, they were cleaning some offices, and I actually acquired a server rack And it's unpopulated right now, but if I wanted eventually, let's say this channel grows and I want to build up servers in there for either support of the channel or in training or something like that. Let's say I get someone like Splunk or something that wants me set up some servers to do a demonstration, or Nutanix or something. They let me borrow a server so I can show off, their virtual systems capability, on-prem virtual capability, or like a Nimble or something like that. That rack's there. Now, with technology where it is today, there's not a whole lot of that stuff going on. There's not a whole lot of physical parts at locations. Some smaller businesses are still having physical servers in their business, but a lot of people are moving to the cloud, right? They're renting other people's equipment in the cloud. So technology is changing all the time. It's one thing that you'll learn when you get into IT. If you're not already in IT, it changes constantly, right? Man, I love this. I love having this freedom of being able to move around and really express myself instead of just sitting there talking to a screen and being really robotic, hey, Mr. Roboto kind of thing, right? So I'm really excited about this. I kind of peeved my wife a little bit because I went and bought a bread rack to do it, but I think it turned out very good. I think it's going to help out a lot. So let's see if I actually connected that camera correctly. Ooh, there's my backside. So that camera is where this camera here is a GoPro right now because I moved my Sony onto a mobile station. But you see some of the rack here. Let me go to a more mobile solution here. So let's try, instead of that camera, let's try that camera. Ooh, oh, I feel so good about this. I feel good about this because I was able to put this together like minutes before I went live. So I'm totally psyched about this. Anyway, so here's the cart. And let's see if I can do a side video here so you guys can see me talking to you. And let's do this. Gotta love this perfection of technology, right? There we go. So anyway, what you see here is the rack I put together. This rack is nothing really is new on it except for the rack itself. Everything else is equipment I had before on my desk that was stationary and really hard to work with because it was all locked in, right? It was all tied in. I had limited cable width and stuff like that. As you see, this bread rack has wheels on it at the bottom. They're locking, so I can lock it into place or I can move it around. Very simple to move around. I have an extension cable that I'm not using right now, but I bought that extension cable for the pure use of being able to move this cart around. I have a power strip in the back powering everything, and one network cable connected to make this work. So if I turn this around a little bit, I should be able to do that without doing too much damage. But you'll see on the back here, I got everything zip tied in. There's some loose cables here. The loose cables are there to allow for some adjustment. Like if I want to unplug my audio recorder, which I totally forgot to start for this video. If I want to take my audio recorder and move it around, move it to a different spot, I can do that because I allowed for the length of cable. For example, a lot of times what's fun on this audio recorder is trying to take the memory card out to pull your audio off of. So I'll start that sucker right now. It's recording and it doesn't help me much because I already started the channel, but you get what I'm talking about. So, and then you also got my soundboard here. Again, that was on my desk. This is a Yamaha MG10XU. Nice soundboard. Don't have to mess with it so much. It doesn't have sliders, but it has knobs here. You can change your voice, your balance, whether you want effects on it. I also got fed in. I I bought, or I have a subscription now to a, sorry about the shaking there. I now have a subscription to a royalty-free music service that allows me to put music in my videos without having to worry about copyright strikes and stuff like that on my videos. So I'm going to start working with that. So you see I have the monitor mounted. I have this set up so that if I move the card around, it doesn't come off, it doesn't destroy anything. So at the top here, if you remember my last studio tour I did, you see that I have the Logitech camera up here. I have my laptop set up here as well. This is also tied in. You know, I can disconnect the cables very easily and move them to wherever I want in the office. But what it allows me to do is I can use this laptop as my audio source for music or whatever in videos. I can also use it as a demonstration. For example, if I go to main laptop, you'll see that that's hooked in, and I can use that for demonstration, let's say for using slides and stuff like that. Or again, as I said, I can use it for music and things like that. So it works very nicely for that. And so I have that tied in. I have my Elgato deck here that's locked in. It's not going anywhere. I can take it off and disconnect it if I want, but it's locked in, and I can control everything from there. I got that programmed. Down below, you see that I have my audio, my mic or wireless mic system connected right here. I got that figured out so it's not dropping audio anymore, and working very nicely. I still have my mic for doing doing podcasts or doing recordings when I need to do clean up the audio on a training session or whatever. That's still there. I loosened that up. It's kind of still a mess over here, but I have that cable right there. I got to clean it up, but that cable's for that mic. And I adjusted for that as well, because if you look over here, I have a cable hanging off. This cable is the green lead, is for that mic when I want to hook it up, and again can move it wherever I want, or I can use the wireless mic and talk into the camera. Here's a computer that I built using spare parts, and again, it's kind of laughable, first world problems again, because the computer on it is really overbuilt for what it needs to do, because it's, let me unlock this. It's overbuilt for what it needs to do because I'm running at the end of that cable. So let's do that. Let's make some adjustments. Again, I'm my own camera guy, so I apologize. So anyway, here we go. Here I am. So anyway, if you look at the side, I think I got that set up correctly. Yep, it's always fun. The stickers from when I was a sysadmin for Bolt House Farms. We got a whole bunch of those stickers made, thought they were fun. But if you look in here, and I'll try to get this camera in there, you might get a side shot here. I'm tied to a, hold on, let me actually get this unconnected here. I don't have much cable for this, but I got cable. So if you look into there, I have a Threadripper a processor. That's a 1950X AMD Threadripper. I still, you see the two Elgato cards, and that video card that's being water cooled as well is a NVIDIA 1080. I got a nice power adapter in there, and then the water reservoir is in the back, or hidden behind that logo in that case, and it works pretty good. So if you look, I guess I'll disconnect this again, but if you look at it, I have Oh, you guys are looking at the wall. I guess my camera isn't working. Oh wait, no, I was bent down. I'm forgetting the video is actually time delayed. I'm a moron. Anyway, if you see on the cart, I'm not using the extension cable right now, so therefore the extension cable's kind of limiting me how far I can move this right now. But I have everything tied in. I use zip ties. So there's some people that have problems with it, zip ties. Some people don't. You know, hey Jacob, why didn't you use Velcro? If you go to Home Depot or something like that, zip ties are pretty inexpensive. So you can actually, you know, if you need to adjust the way you're doing stuff, I've done it multiple times already. Like I did some rewiring over here on this side, and so I've replaced these zip ties multiple times because of different configurations I wanted to do. But it makes everything clean, right? I've had Velcro strips that I've used in the past, and the problem with the Velcro strips is sometimes they get loose, or they like I have a golden retriever, and the problem with having a golden retriever is they leave a lot of hair around. We're constantly vacuuming, and so you know, if I used Velcro, hair would be all over the Velcro strip, and it's a pain in the rear. So you see that I got a gigabit switch on the back there. It's nothing special, but I found that doing videos wirelessly don't work out all the time. So I'm all about hardwiring, so that's why I have the gigabit switch there, and that's why I'm using that as my main communication. I'm not using wireless. I'm tied into my network back here, which is a rat nest right now, but it works. And there's, you know, my workbench. So the whole idea of with this whole setup is to be able to set up cameras like around this workbench, around different areas of my studio. I got a mess back here, things like that. I can clean that up and really have some fun with it and do some nice videos. Sorry, I'm gonna move you around again, get back into the original configuration. Some of the fun of being your own cameraman, of course. So there we go. So now you guys are seeing the back of the screen. So let's turn this to main front, turn that off, and there we go. So yeah, some of the adjustment I made, I think it'll help with my content. The only other thing that I think would help with my content is if I got a cameraman, which I might talk to my sons about helping out with. But that's going to probably come with varying results, right? You know, kids, they get tired of doing something pretty quickly. So anyway, the whole idea again is to be more flexible. Again, my own cameraman, sorry about that, but you're watching a live, you are or you aren't watching a live channel. So it's, you know, some adjustments. I think they're all for the better. I think they're going to help out a lot. I can, again, when I'm doing demonstration or something like that, I can do a better job of it. I think it'll also improve my training videos so I can be more fluid and more, you know, move around, not be such a static person, be able to be more consistent with those kind of videos, right? I mean, I got all kinds of movement that I can do now instead of being stuck in a chair. You know, if you're in IT, you know, right? If you know, you know. You end up sitting a lot. And so just looking forward to doing some videos doing this. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable. I think I'll be able to produce a lot more videos doing this, just having a better flow and all that stuff. So we're going to see how it works. This Wednesday, I have an interview with Matt Mitchell. Matt Mitchell, he commented on the last video, looking forward to his interview with me. I'm really looking forward to it as well. I also had Jonathan Cathanis. I always mess up his last name. John is a really cool kid, really cool guy. I almost called him a kid. He's no longer a kid, but really cool dude. And his trail to how he got where he's at is like most of I've run into that a couple of times, right? So you have some guys that get into IT, and they get into IT, right out of high school, like I did. I graduated high school and I was right in the IT field. I didn't have to do a whole lot. I was lucky that I had this awesome mentor in high school that really prepared me for when I got out of high school, and I just got out at the right time. People were really looking for IT professionals at the time. And I hit the ground running, and I never stopped. Jonathan started out as a dishwasher. He was working for a hospital in Bakersfield, California, and he started out in the kitchen. Barely knew anything about computers. He signed up for a class at Kaplan College, and he was in my class for CST, Computer Support Technician program. And towards the end of his color wheel, I've talked about that in previous live streams. He asked the right questions, and I was able to help him. And one of the greatest prides, when you help someone and when you mentor someone, it makes your heart swell with such pride and joy. It's undescribable. I don't do drugs. I've never done a drug in my life. I've never smoked pot. I've never partaked of any drugs. I have never experimented. Part of that I can thank to the fact that I was involved in scouting and took scouting very seriously. I can also thank in part my family. Unfortunately, I'm the black sheep of my family. Everyone else in my family has dabbled in drugs. My dad did more than dabble in drugs. That was his downside, but other than that, he was an awesome father. And he didn't let his use get in the way of being a father. But everyone else in my family has dealt with drugs, and I've had a lot alcoholism in my family, and so I don't do drugs. I don't drink, and I guess I could be considered a stick in the mud, but where I've experienced the true highs of highs, and I guess the best things to ever happen to me have been, number one, marrying my wife. My wife, by far, is the best thing that's ever happened to me. The fact that she's brought the two boys into my life is, that's also an extreme high. They're my adopted sons, but they are my sons, and I don't think there's anything that makes me more happy. But next to my wife and next to my sons is the pride I get from helping others, and the pride that I get from seeing someone I've helped in the past be successful and lead on to bigger, better things. To me, there's no bigger high. And if you've tried drugs, you probably would argue with me, but I'm never going to know, because I'm never going to do drugs. It's just not me. If you know me in any capacity, you know that I'm not that kind of person. So I guess the worst drug I do other than do this stuff is like caffeine. I drink a lot of coffee and I dabble in a Monster or two, but that's about it. And other than that, my biggest high is helping other people. I mean, I just I get a lot of pride out of that, and so I guess what I'm saying is, if you ever do well in your field, you know, do whatever you can to turn around and give back. It's worth the journey. It's worth the help. But anyway, I went on a tangent. Jonathan will be joining me for a live stream. That one may be pre-recorded. Unfortunately, Jonathan works on both nights that I do live streams because he still works for our hospital, just not in the kitchen any longer. So he, you know, there's different demands there, right? So he works on Sundays and he works on Tuesdays. So I've worked it out with him to do his interview on a Monday. I don't know if I'll live stream that, like do a impromptu live stream. That might be a good idea. I don't know. And then rebroadcast it on the like Wednesday following or something. You know, whatever the case is. It's either going to be pre-recorded and broadcasted on the regular time, and I will be live on that live stream. Like while it's broadcasting, I will be online. I will be answering questions. If there's any asked, I will probably do an intro and an outro to that video. And anyway, this Wednesday, I have Matthew Mitchell joining me. Matthew Mitchell worked for a major produce, well, they do all kinds of stuff, but up until recently, he changed job positions, but he was working for a $4+ billion a year company that specialized in mandarins and stuff like that. And, if you do your research, you could probably figure it out. I'll let him mention the name of the company if he chooses to. But they do pomegranates and they do all kinds of stuff. You see him a lot. Anyway, he worked for that company for 16 years as an IT manager. He held other positions working up to IT manager. But I've known Matt Mitchell for a long time. You know, as you grow up and as you mature, sometimes you don't stay in contact with people as much as you like to. Matt Mitchell for me is one of those. He's a very neat guy, very excited about what he does, very excited about life, and I think you'll see that in the interview. He is just a neat guy. He got in trouble a lot in high school, and so did I, and I hope we talk about it. There's another guy that I would like to get on here. I've had Antonio Moore on here, but I know another Antonio. He goes by Tony, but his actual name is Antonio. And if I can talk to him and get him on an interview, I would like to, because that'll show you another side of things, right? So Antonio was involved in part of my life when shortly after my dad passed away. I took the inheritance of what my dad left behind, and after Chenault Baker and Company did a great job of helping free it up because my dad was in trouble with the government. We got that cleared up, thank God. But with what Chenault Baker and Company was able to do for me, and I eventually worked for Chenault Baker and Company, by the way, but they allowed me to get some freedom, and I did the one thing I knew my dad wanted me to do with inheritance. I knew that he wanted me to do this because before he passed away, he was asking me all the time, hey, what do you think it would cost for you to do this? What do you think it would take you to start this? You know, he kind of knew I wanted to go into business for myself. And so he helped, you know, through his passing, unfortunately, he helped me start my own business. And I used the inheritance from my dad's passing to start my own business. And when I started that business, I brought in a friend, and I brought in Antonio in. And we worked pretty well for the first 6 months to a year, and then things kind of fell apart. And I think now, looking back at it, they fell apart because we were at different places in our lives. And, sometimes someone will think that you're great at what you do, and you yourself at that time don't really consider yourself that great, and probably are too hard on yourself. And I think that's kind of what happened with Antonio and me. And, I'll let him explain it more, but we've been very candid about it with each other. He is a very, very amazing individual. I haven't talked to him in a while, and that's not because any kind of animosity or anything like that. He's just he's a neat person. I credit his family for basically saving my life for a while. When you move out for the first time on your own, and you get your apartment and stuff, you don't think about things like food and sustaining yourself. And every time I go over visit his house, his mother would see me. She would take off in her car. And while I was visiting with Antonio or with Tony, and we were talking about games or computers or what we would like to do in the future and stuff like this. This way before I started the company, or way before, we were still kind of in high school during this time, or just out of high school. She would take off and she would go to the store and buy me food. And when I would leave with bags of groceries, because she didn't think I was eating enough. I think I make her proud now. I'm a big guy now, but back then I was quite skinny, and so I give her a lot of credit, and him a lot of credit, and his family a lot of credit. His family, just amazing family. Haven't seen him in years, but I would really like to get Antonio on here because I think that would give some insight. I think a lot of people, when they want to go into business for themselves, the first thing they think about is going in business with your best friend. And I think there was an adage or something, like, be careful of going in business with your friends, because sometimes they won't be your friends after, right? And thankfully, Antonio and I hadn't gotten to that point where we're no longer friends, but there was a rift created between the two of us for, I would say, 2 or 3 years, mainly because we went into business together. And as I said, we were on different spectrums of where we were at in that period of time. So, but you know what? He's doing better. I'm doing good. It was a life lesson. It was a lesson that we both needed to learn. And the important thing is I can still call him a friend. And I like to have him on here because I think he learned some lessons from that. I learned some lessons from it. And I think us talking about it would help someone else in the process of starting their own business and thinking about certain things and stuff like that if they choose to go, in business in general, but certainly in IT, it's one of those things. So anyway, I've talked myself off a little bit. I've shown you the new mobile station. I'm doing some work with it. I'm hoping to, now that I can flow a lot better, and after I guess I get a haircut. Weird thinking about the hair. Okay, so no one's made mention of this, but I think I should. If I always have crazy hair, I have to apologize. I blame genes. I blame the genes that my mom passed on to me, because I have an issue if I put any product in my hair. It really messes with my scalp. I break out like a teenager, and it's just bad. So I told you guys I'm an open book. So it's bad. So what I typically do is I keep it trimmed down, thanks to COVID and stuff like that. And the haircuts have gotten a little bit longer. My wife has started cutting my hair, so that's always a little bit fun too. And so I'll get, before I go live on Wednesday, I'll get my hair cut again and hopefully look a little bit more presentable. But if you see me with crazy hair, I start to look like Albert Einstein a little bit. It's just because, you know, I can't put product in my hair, and it makes no sense to put water in and go back. So my hair doesn't obviously make me as self-conscious as my eye used to. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. But if you see crazy hair or something like that, that's probably why. But anyway, yeah, as I normally say, if you have questions, I know that I don't have a whole lot of training videos out there right now. All the training videos I have out there right now are old, and they're incomplete because, you know, it was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. But I'm going to have new training videos out soon. But if you have questions about IT, about business, about getting an IT, please don't hesitate to put your questions in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer them. If you see me during a live stream, don't hesitate to ask questions. These streams are actually live, so I have no problem answering questions during that time. And you know, hey, this channel is very small, so you're going to get all the attention in the world right now. Usually if I see someone pop on there and put something in chat, I'm like, oh, you know. And so I don't know if this channel will ever grow or if it will always remain that size, but if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't really care. I just enjoy doing these. So feel free to leave comments in the comment section if you're watching the recording of this video. If you're in a live stream, which I do every Wednesday and every Sunday, from 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific until I'm done. So I could go 2 or 3 hours, but I doubt anyone wants to listen to me for 2 or 3 hours, so I'm not going to do that. As I always say, I hope that you are healthy and you're safe. I hope your family is healthy and safe. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for joining me, and until next time, have a good time, right? Thanks.